we are talking about fictional elements, one thing that helps is to kind of think of them as a web. All the fictional elements are connected to each other. So any story is going to have a character, a protagonist, and every story is going to have a point of view. Who is the narrator? Is the narrator a character in the story? That's first person point of view. Is the narrator an outside viewer that is just describing what they see? That's third person point of view. No matter what the point of view, though, the point of view is going to help us understand the thoughts and feelings of our protagonist. Now, the story is also going to happen in a setting. There's going to be a time and a place that the story happens. And our character can interact with that setting, right? They can change things about the setting. They live there. They're going to do their thing there. But the setting is always going to affect your protagonist as well. Their thoughts, their feelings, their beliefs, the things that they've gone through are all determined on where and when they live. Now, there's also going to be a conflict, a problem of some kind, and the setting affects that problem. If the story is taking place during a war, then the conflict might involve the war, and that war is also going to affect our protagonist. So these things are all interconnected with each other. The character can also directly affect the conflict. Their personality and the things that they want, their motivations, are also going to cause problems for them a lot of the time. And all stories have a theme, a lesson, a message, a moral, something we're supposed to learn from the story. And the easiest way to figure out the theme is to think about the conflict. What caused this problem, and how was this problem resolved? Those questions can often lead us to a theme statement. Let's look at an example. In The Lion King, our protagonist is Simba, and because the point of view follows Simba around, we know his thoughts and feelings. Now, Simba lives in Pride Rock. That is our setting, and this setting affects him a lot. He's the prince of Pride Rock, and that affects his personality and the things that he wants in life. But there's also a conflict. His uncle, Scar, wants to be king instead, and so they're going to be in conflict with each other. When Scar tricks Simba into thinking that his dad has died because of him, Simba runs away, right? He wants to avoid the guilt and the responsibility of being king, so he runs. This affects the setting. Pride Rock does not do well without the proper king in this story. And eventually, Simba grows up away from Pride Rock. At this point, the conflict happens again because Mufasa, his dad's ghost, appears to him and tells Simba he has to go back to Pride Rock. When Simba does that, he's able to fix everything and make Pride Rock nice again. If we think about all of this, what caused the problem was Simba kind of running away from his responsibilities. And what solved the problem was Simba coming back and facing his problems. So the theme is that you shouldn't run away from your responsibilities and your problems. Think about the movie Aladdin. Aladdin is our protagonist. Because of that, we know his thoughts and feelings really well. The setting is this kind of fictional country of Agrabah, and it affects Aladdin a lot. Aladdin is a street rat. He's very poor. He doesn't have any money in the city. The cops don't like him. And because of all of that, he has this conflict where he doesn't get to marry the Princess Jasmine. So the real problems start whenever he gets the magic lamp and uses it to lie about who he is. He lies about being a prince so he can try to get with Princess Jasmine. But that doesn't solve the problem. It actually kind of makes it worse because Jasmine doesn't really like him a whole lot when he's lying. And eventually his lies even cause Jafar to get the magic himself, which is a really big problem. But in the end, Aladdin is a nice and sweet guy, and he tells the truth. And because of that, he does get to be with Princess Jasmine. So the theme is about how lies catch up with you, and the truth is the best course of action. So when you're going through a fictional story, you have to do more than just identifying the main character and the setting and the conflict. You have to think about how they're connected. How does the setting affect the characters? Is it the cause of their beliefs or their problems? How does the setting affect the conflict? And how